able to transform a traditional village into a smart village. Again, smart sharing in the sense, there are very small landholders. They cannot have a tractor. Again, they don't have the equipments, farm equipments. They cannot purchase. That means they are going to share that. In certain cases, there will be uncertainty. That means availability, how it is available, with whom, which farmer it is available now. That also, that database, if we are able to create, immediately at that given point, they can get the tractor or their implements, okay, to do that agricultural work. That is called as smart sharing. They can create an app, and then for that particular village, then they have a database, how many tractors are there, what is that particular tractor rent per hour, everything, and availability. Okay, then everything, just like we are booking our taxis in the city. Then if anybody want to book nearby the tractor available for 1 hour work, 2 hour work, like that they can do. Then again, it will be a win-win situation for the tractor owner as well as the small landholders. So this is also one type how the smart sharing is going to help. Then we'll have the smart village concept. The focus on modern technologies in the smart village framework. The general goal of a smart village is to improve sustainability with the help of technology. Smart villages are known for their human dynamics, which makes recurrent use of permanently connected devices, frequently known as IoT, Internet of Things. Okay, if you compare the traditional traditional villages and the city and the smart villages, then ultimately this one layer, data, we need to generate a data. As I mentioned, when you are generating a data, then connected, and then ultimately you can improve upon the services. Okay, continuously you are monitoring, as I mentioned, so many components of these villages. So where I'm going to hook to that, and I'm going to apply this IoT, then ultimately I'm going to get the data, and I'm going to analyze the data, and then ultimately I improve upon that. This data layer is very important even in case of the smart village. Okay. Then, if you look into the smart sustainable villages and the role of ICT, if you look into, okay. So here, this potential of information communication technology, that ICT in smart sustainable villages, high level of the key ICT infrastructure which will enable smart sustainable village strategies. Okay, as I mentioned about whether it is the sharing of the equipment or a tractor or e-commerce and all those things, whatever it is, or the improvement in the services. Okay, in that say we have to look into. There are some key performance indices what we look into the smart sustainable villages. Improve the quality of life and ensure environmental, economic, and social sustainability. Smart Sustainable Village project will thrive based on their ability to identify, define, monitor their action, smartness, and sustainability difference between village based on their economic power. Okay. So these are the key performance indices. Why we need to have these key performance indices collected? Okay, what data to collect, standard data collection, then shows gap in the policy, then improvement in that way. So these key performance indicators are going to help us in improving the traditional villages into a smart villages. Okay. So now if you look into the disruptive technologies and social innovations where we are going to use them in the smart villages, whether it is Internet of Everything or Internet of Things, social robotics, then we are going to have the digital platforms, sharing economy, big data, cloud. Okay. Then we are going to have a drone technology that is very much useful in rural area nowadays. Renewable energy is also very much useful in the rural area. Then 3D printing, okay, it may not be now, at least in the coming days, in future. Okay, then crowdsourcing is funding, crowdfunding and all those things. Now mobile is already made a tremendous difference in the rural area. Okay, then co-creation is nothing but the cooperation system that is already existing in rural areas, cooperative societies. Then there also they can make then self-organization. Okay, these are the technologies and then social innovations which are required to transform the traditional villages into a smart villages. If I want to enable the smart infra technology, if I give one example of suppose now, okay, in the rural area, car may not be there, but there will be a tractors. Okay, now modern agriculture, and then the village of 100 houses nowadays may be having at least about 10%, 25% houses will be having the tractors. Okay, now if we are going to make them the solar operated, not now, at least in coming days there may be solar operated tractors and also solar operated mini agricultural implements may be there. For that we need to develop the charging stations in the rural area. Okay, that means where they can charge their implements, directly use implements, they charge and use battery operated and all. In addition to that, them if they in future the tractors, and then this one technology is also required for the rural area. Okay, then we talk about the robotics, social robots. Okay, then agricultural robots and all those things. Then drone, whether to identify or crop disease detection, or to spray the insecticides or sorry pesticides. Okay, at a predetermined level, so that you are not creating the air pollution, but effectively you are spraying the pesticide with a minimum quantity, and then ultimately you are going to save a lot on the requirement of the pesticide, as well as the with its effect on the in the air. Okay, you are reducing from that angle. Definitely the drone is going to be useful in the rural area. Then you are going to have the 3D printing now, not so much now, but in coming years, then definitely the 3D printing is going to play a major role. Okay, from that. Okay, now if you look into the key performance indicators for smart sustainable village, whether it is ICT, as I mentioned, ICT is the main. Okay, if we look into the ICT, how the ICT is going to connect, that is information communication technology, it's going to be in the productivity. The productivity, when I talk about productivity, it may be only not only agricultural productivity and cottage industries productivity, whether it is a pottery or the other things, okay, blacksmithy and all those, there are so many things are there. Then you're going to have environmental sustainability, infrastructure development, quality of life, equity and social inclusion. So these are all the things we need to look into. Okay. So then again, non-ICT infrastructure development, buildings, transportation, sanitation, whether it is roads, infrastructure, or a drainage system, sewerage systems, okay, communication lines, energy lines, they comes under non-ICT infrastructure. We call them as a physical infrastructure. So along with that, so these ICT infrastructures are required to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of this non-ICT infrastructure, that is roads and all those things. So we are not going to renovate the roads and all those things within the existing available infrastructure, physical infrastructure. How effectively using this ICT, I'm going to enhance its effectiveness in the service, whether it is a drainage system, water supply system, and all those things. That is what we look into. Okay, then ultimately, when everything falls in line, then quality of life is going to increase or enhance the people. Then equity and social inclusion means every state, every level of the people who are living, whether it is low income, middle income, or anywhere, then definitely the social inclusion, where everybody will be getting the same benefit. That is what these key performance indicators for smart sustainable villages. Then Who are all the stakeholders for smart sustainable village if you look into? So this is a panchayat and village administration. Okay, in that there are different departments involved, national and regional governments. Okay, then we're going to have ICT companies, telecom operators, startups, software companies, then NGOs, then multilateral organizations, industry associations are required, academia and scientific community to provide the skilled manpower, then citizens and citizen organizations who are the center of this smart village, they have to uh, be there. Then standard organized bodies, yes, standard bodies are required because when I'm using all these electronics gadgets, whether it is IoT, when I'm going to use whether it's servers, whether it is connectors, everything must be standardized by these bodies. So this is how these are all the stakeholders for our smart villages. Then if you look into the overview of smart sustainable village infrastructure, the ICT, information communication technology, can provide intelligence to traditional infrastructure, turning it into a smart infrastructure. As I mentioned, it is going to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of the physical infrastructure. Okay. Here we are considering two aspects. One is the deployment of new ICT infrastructure, and another one is improvement in the current infrastructure. Okay. Then ICT acts as an enabler to build smart sustainable villages that use resource efficiently, cut energy costs, foster energy savings, improve quality of life, and reduce environmental footprint. So that is the main difference between traditional village and smart village. Okay, here I'm using resources efficiently. How I'm going to know that? Because of through that key performance indicators. How I'm going to get that key performance indicator? Using ICT tools, IoT. I'm collecting the data. When you analyze the data, ultimately you'll be knowing the resource efficiency. Okay, then energy cost, how much energy you have saved. Okay, then poster energy savings. That means additionally you can identify where I can save the energy. Okay, then ultimately improve quality of life. Improve quality of life means, see, nobody is wasting their time. Means everybody is moving or doing their work in a limited amount of time. That too with a quality output. Okay, whether it is a traveling, whether it is their product making. Okay, then ultimately everything boils down to reduction in environmental footprint. Okay, that is carbon emissions will be very less for a given per product. So that is how terms of mathematical equations everything is boils down to that way. That is how the traditional city is transformed into a smart sustainable city. Sorry, smart sustainable village. If we look into ICT infrastructure for smart sustainable villages, yes, these are the smart sustainable village multi-tier. So you can see this is actually the natural environment. That is the smart water that is already in the village. Maybe you maybe have a river, lake, ponds. Okay, then smart energy. Okay, then smart transportation, smart healthcare, smart safety and emergency, education, tourism, waste management, and then buildings. Okay, then in that case, we are going to have this. This we are going to get all these things from hard infrastructure, non-ITC based. That is how we're going to get the water. So from the source to the village, okay, you are going to construct a dam across a river, or you're going to have a lake. From there, you have to take the water. So that means again here I'm going to use the ICT tools. I will monitor the water quality, raw water quality. I will monitor accordingly. I will adjust my treatment, different units of the treatment as per their nature and degree of the treatment required. I'm going to set the sensors, and accordingly that will be there. And then I'm going to fix the what will be my potable water quality parameters. Here my potable water quality parameters will be monitored, and then they are going to change season wise, because the turbidity in the natural water in the summer will be less, whereas in the rainy season it will be more. Accordingly, my sensor senses. Accordingly, there will be a change in my degree of treatment. Okay, so that is output is fixed from each unit. Then ultimately the degree of the treatment. Then accordingly my energy. If I'm going to use some aerators, or I'm going to use the other things, then ultimately I'm going to fix sedimentation, coagulation. I'm going to fix the alum doses. According to that, everything is atomized in that sense. Then ultimately water will be supplied. That is how the integration of, it is called the system integration. Two systems. One is a physical system, another one is ICT system. And these two systems I'm going to integrate and create one more system called as system of system. That is system integrating ICT with physical infrastructure, so that I can improve or I can make more effective and efficient um, way of doing the things. Okay. So similarly, the energy, I'm going to have a conventional, non-conventional, solar. Okay. Then you are going to, if you are going to have a solar energy, then ultimately the transmission losses will be very less, because you are going to generate there only. Suppose you are going to have some hydropower or thermal generated power, then ultimately you need to have a transmission lines, and then you are going to have a lot of carbon emission in thermal, as well as if it's a coal driven and all those things, then transmission losses will be more. So like that is how I'm going to use the different thing way, that way. Smart transportation. Okay. Then you're going to have a smart healthcare, yeah, hospitals. Okay. Then emergency, I'm going to have ambulances, emergency equipments, and all those things. Then schools, colleges in education and tourism. Then waste management, solid waste management. I'm going to deploy the community bin system. Then once that bin is filled, then automatically I get signal. Then I want to carry that. I have to need to effectively monitor. Then ICT is required very much. Likewise, buildings. Then I want to have energy efficient buildings or green buildings. Even the cleaner development technology or mechanism industries I'm going to erect. So this is how exactly based on that, then this effectiveness I can have the hard infrastructure, that is ICT based infrastructures, where I'm going to monitor everything. Okay, for that I read the soft infrastructure, the programming and all those things, control the manpower, skilled manpower, then components for that, servers. Okay, all these things they comes under what is known as the soft infrastructure. So these are the four layers we can have. The concept, coverage, vision, uses the smart, sustainable villages, characteristics and requirement of smart, sustainable villages. So that is efficient services, network infrastructures of smart, sustainable villages. This is the architectural framework from the environmental impact point of view. Thereby, I can reduce a more carbon footprint, and also I can increase the efficiency and effectiveness of the each of the activity where the villagers are going to carry on day-to-day basis more effectively and efficiently. This is one thing I wanted to discuss with you people. Then ICT enabled governance for sustainability. So let it be, if I want to really know the performance of the village, which is transformed from traditional to the smart, it based on the effective governance. Okay. So then ultimately, what is this governance? Governance is nothing but, now if you look into the two quadrant system, or two axis system, that is, in the x axis I'm going to take governance level, and in the y axis I'm going to have a level of unsustainability in the governance. Okay. Now if we want to take the conventional village, then we're going to have a smart sustainable smart village, smart and smart sustainable village. Okay. Then ultimately I'm going to have a curve. So as the governance level, then ultimately what is going to happen, level of sustainability in this is only one governance level, that is governance one, means the village panchayat is taking care of everything. That means level of unsustainability goes up. Okay, but when it comes to the smart sustainable villages, if I'm going to have governance to implement it, governance to means it is panchayat and administration, along with that public participation. Then public participation, they are going to bring down the level of unsustainability. Even the governance level goes up. Okay, then if I'm going to have a governance level 3, where I'm going to implement ICT, I'm going to monitor with technology, I'm going to collect the data, but the decision is subjectivity. Again, a decision will be taken whether to do it or not is based on the people, based on the administration. Then ultimately, it is no doubt some will be done, some will not be done. It will come down to this level. But if I go for a governance 4, means there is no subjectivity. I'm going to monitor the data, I'm going to make it, and then again immediately I'm going to get corrected. Everything is done automatically. Then the level of unsustainability going to be come down. This is the governance 4. If you look into the graph, if I put in terms of graph here, you look government 1.0 means where it is service oriented governance. Service oriented governance, who is going to carry out the service? It is only the administrative staff. It's a panchayat raj, village panchayat, and its administrative staff are going to carry out. Initially, when it start, then everybody is enthusiastic, they will do, and then it will maintain. But after some due course of time, then it's decline. Okay, but participation, that is a public participation, participatory approach. Initially, the public also participate very well, but in due course of time, they also lose the interest. Then ultimately, it is going to come down. But when you talk about the governance 3, where I'm going to use artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, that is using IoT, I'm monitoring, I'm everything, and knowing pinpoint which is doing well, that is support for policy and decision making, then ultimately this is going to take up. Okay, it will go. But if the decision is taken by a subject, means administrator, ultimately after certain time it will come down. Okay, but when I'm going to use AM, ML, and everything for the even taking the decision and making the correction, then it is governance 4. This is how actually ICT enabled governance for sustainability, and this is how exactly we need to make each and every villages. If we are going to transform from traditional village to the smart villages, then we need to work on this. Okay, so these are the 3-4 curves. Okay, that is if I want to explain in a better way for governance 3, we talk about the big data, data analytics here for better decision. IoT for enhancing the decision, means IoT is nothing but it collect the data, it analyze the data, and then if you want to retrieve the data, and it's going to give you the outcome, what to do. Then ultimately everything is stored, provide the computation storage facility, cloud computing. These are the things required. One step ahead in governance 4.0 is nothing but you are giving, even taking decision and making the updation also to the machine. Then ultimately that will be no falling down of the curve. It is continuously rising only in the governance 4.2. Okay. So this is the smart village governance. So if we look into the smart village governance, you are going to have smart inputs. These are the smart inputs, data, sensors, and everything is required. Then you are going to have the collaboration and participation, data-driven decision making, openness, transparency. That is in the governance. It should be there in the governance of that. Then ultimately you are going to get the desired outcomes, smart outcomes. Okay, whatever you are having. Enhance citizen centricity, deliver smart services, improve quality of life. This is how exactly the smart village governance is going to help you. Okay, coming to the summarization, the smart village approach is an inter-sectoral approach. It covers many areas ranging from, even you talk about the tourism, mobility to government to energy. It is therefore crucial that the smart village approach is embedded in the existing and future policies. Smart village approach is not only relevant for agriculture and cohesion policy, it is as well relevant for transport, education, health, social care, tourism, energy, housing, etc. All the relevant policies should therefore take the smart village approach into account and encourage it. Good digital infrastructure are necessary precondition for smart villages. Policies that bring forward these infrastructures are urgently needed. Good examples are rural broadband connectivity, as Government of India is doing, connecting all villages. To conclude, it is important to note that policies for digital infrastructure are essential conditions for smart villages development. So this is my summary of the whatever the talk I have done 1.5 hours, almost 1 hour 25 minutes. Okay, now I'm going to have one equation called Java equation of sustainability. This is my equation. If you want to achieve sustainability in any work, whether it is not only village or a city or even environmental aspect, then whatever the environmental capacity, it is finite, it is not infinite. Okay, then the resource is what we are taking. Rate of resources consumption, we need to reduce it. Okay, this is constant. We need to reduce this use. Then again, waste assimilation capacity is also finite. That means now waste discharge, we also need to reduce discharging the waste into the environment. Okay, then ultimately, if you want to keep this sustainability equal to 1, then always it should be positive. It should not go in negative. That means everything, resource consumption and waste discharge must be within the capacity of the environment. Okay, then ultimately you are going to achieve the sustainability. Okay, then if you look into the American Society of Civil Engineering principles, there are 2 principles. They are given beautiful principles. Principle 1 says that do the right project. Principle 2 say that once you accept that right project, do it the project right. So if you are able to follow these 2 principles, definitely you can achieve in whatever, not only in smart village or a smart city and everything. Okay. Ultimately, you talk about 17 sustainable goals. Okay, then it's all about. Thank you all for your kind attention. Any questions there? I'm happily going to answer to your question.